Unexpectedly, after my relationship with Zachary was made public, it did not attract any criticism from the netizens. Instead, it set off a trend of digging up our story in the past. Zoe told me that it started with an anonymous post. It could be one of our classmates at high school. The post went as follows. Zachary J and Ava Jones were childhood sweethearts. Their long-lasting romance started from puppy love and has now turned into a happy marriage. Let me tell you about their story from the very beginning. They used to sit next to each other in high school, so it was normal for them to flirt with each other by arguing every day. The most shocking thing was that the two of them often got caught quarreling during class. So the teacher told their parents to settle their differences. But the parents both felt satisfied with their child's date while our teacher could only feel helpless. The two of them were both very good looking. Here are some photos of them when they were in high school. The most upvoted comment below the post was, "And they had a sweet episode at the prom." At that time, Ava was drunk with her cheeks scarlet after only one glass of wine. However, her classmates plied her with alcohol and soft drinks. Zachary was so worried that he quickly poured all her drinks into his glass. Then our poor Zachary had to drink up 3 glasses of red wine with Sprite. Lol. Before I could finish reading the comments, Zoe sent me another post with the title "Evidence of Zachary J's Affection for His Wife." Previously, I watched several episodes and found that Zachary had been wearing the same ring. I just thought that he must like this ring very much. It wasn't until he tweeted about his marriage that I realized it was a wedding ring. Oh my god, this is so romantic. Finally, here are some photos of Zachary's hand with the wedding ring. Following was a pile of screenshots of the show. Mrs. J, are you still watching his photos? We'll arrive at the TV station soon. Isn't it better to watch the real person? Said Bob with a glimpse at my phone screen. I even sympathized with you back then. We've been friends for so many years. It's all right that you didn't tell me you were married, but you even hid your spouse's identity from me. As Bob spoke, he pretended to be sad and said, "It seems that someone has neglected her friends after getting married." John, don't you think so? All right. After we finish our work for this show, I'll ask my husband to treat you to a good meal as a substitute for our wedding banquet. I comforted Bob and patted him on the shoulder. Humph, I'll take my wife with me too. We'll definitely stuff our faces, Bob joked. And the atmosphere in the car suddenly became cheerful. It was the final of the talent show today. Fabian Lind of Zachary's team won the championship with the most votes. Colorful ribbons in the air floated down as tears swirled in his eyes. The MC handed the microphone to him. He choked with sobs before he could finish his speech, so the microphone was then passed to Zachary. Mr. J, the contestant who chose you as his mentor is now the champion. Do you have anything to say to everyone? First of all, I'm grateful that he chose me and used my music to complete a perfect finale stage. I hope we can cooperate in the future. I'm also grateful that the program crew has been taking care of me and my team for such a long time. Uncharacteristically for Zachary, he grinned with joy in front of the camera. Finally, I want to express my sincere gratitude to my wife for persuading me to participate in the show and leave my dispirited time behind. I was in the dressing room looking across the screen at Zachary. I couldn't help but tear up. Just as I walked outside the dressing room to wait for Zachary, I happened to see Amanda Lewis and a contestant of Timothy's team coming out of Timothy's dressing room. The hickeys were all over the neck of the contestant while Amanda was slowly buttoning up her blouse. "So you are Zachary's wife?" Amanda called out to me first. I smiled politely and didn't reply. She raised her head and asked, "How was the aphrodisiac last time? Did you enjoy it?" My face suddenly burned with embarrassment. I didn't know how to react. If you're tired of playing with Zachary, let me know. I'll exchange some young flesh for Zachary with you. After all, she pretended to ponder and then left with a sentence. One will be sick of eating the same dish all day long, even if it's a delicious one. I was so shocked at Amanda's words that I almost failed to notice Zachary coming. What's wrong? I was startled when his face was magnified in my sight. Nothing. I came to my senses. I just met Amanda. Zachary asked vigilantly, "Did she talk to you?" "Yes. She asked me if the aphrodisiac last time was effective, and I told her." I carefully raised my eyes to observe Zachary's face as I spoke. It was so good that I had so much fun. I burst into laughter as I saw his face darken. Zachary gritted his teeth. "I'm sorry." I immediately surrendered. "Actually, Amanda was kind. She said that I could exchange you for a handsome young boy with her. After thinking about it, I feel that it's quite a deal. 20 after the show ended, Zachary needed to produce albums for the singers. So he left early and returned late every day. Almost a year had passed. This year, Zachary was invited to perform at a music festival. The day of his performance happened to be his birthday. I told him that I ached to go there, but I was too busy with my work. Zachary said he didn't mind, but a hint of disappointment could be seen in his eyes. Just as Zachary had set off, I excitedly went into my room to pack up my baggage. I secretly booked a ticket to the music festival and got on a flight there. I planned to give him a surprise tomorrow. Everything went smoothly from departure to landing. On the next day, I put on beautiful makeup and dressed myself up. The music festival was bustling with noise and excitement. I hid in the crowd and calculated when Zachary would appear on the stage. "Hello! Can I take a photo with you?" Before I could refuse, my phone rang. It was from Zachary. I immediately hung up the phone and refused the boy beside me. "I'm sorry. I don't like to take photos with strangers." As soon as I finished speaking, I received a WhatsApp message from Zachary. "Why didn't you answer the phone?" I replied to him 5 minutes later, pretending to be busy. "Did you call me? I'm working outside. The reception isn't good." Then, Zachary sent me a photo, in which the boy and I were projected on the stage's big screen while we were talking. Zachary then wrote, "Indeed, the reception here isn't good." I hurriedly explained, "Honey, you misunderstood me. I originally intended to give you a surprise." As expected, when I saw Zachary, he seemed to be displeased. Even when I showed him the hotel room I had decorated, he was still indifferent. "Well, I ordered this cake a long time ago." I bit my lip and looked at him nervously. He pulled me into his arms and did not give a glance at the cake at all. "Try it?" I asked him tentatively. "I'll try the gift first." He refused me with a serious face. "What gift?" The instant I had finished my words, I felt a chill on my back as he untied the laces of my dress easily. "Zach, you bastard. Then you're a liar." Not long after, Zachary really received a gift. His son, Jones J. Story of Zachary, at the senior prom. Ava was hammered. Her face was already scarlet, but she still insisted that she was not drunk. Eventually, Zachary drank up all the drinks for her and then sent her home. When they reached Ava's home, Ava suddenly wrapped her arms around Zachary's neck and pressed her lips against his. Zachary was stunned at first, and then he quickly withdrew his arm that was embracing Ava. He thought he was not drunk, but alcohol seemed to have overwhelmed him, and uncontrollably, his mind was in a mess. The wine at the prom was sour and bitter, but the taste he absorbed from her mouth was very tempting, so sweet and juicy like a ripe cherry. In the end, reason triumphed over lust. Zachary grabbed her shoulders to separate the two of them. He ran home and washed with cold water for a long time, but he was still burning with feelings for her. He lay on the bed and stared at the ceiling, thinking about every possibility that would happen after Ava regained consciousness the next day. Zachary felt that it was incredible since his heart would begin to drum every time he pictured them being together. When did he fall for Ava? Zachary didn't even know the answer himself. Thinking of what he had quarreled with her before, he felt a burst of regret. But the next day, when Zachary went out and bumped into Ava, he found his consideration all night long was in vain because Ava had been too drunk to remember everything. Zachary knew clearly about his affection for Ava, but he didn't dare estimate the possibility that Ava also liked him. It was because Ava had liked many people, and she would change her feelings every 2 or 3 days. He was afraid that Ava didn't like him. He was even more afraid that her affection for him would be just a flash in the pan. In the past, Zachary would always argue with Ava. Gradually, Zachary would inwardly rehearse his words, his movements, and his expressions before they met. In the last summer at high school, Zachary wrote all the words he didn't dare to say to her into a song. He named the song Crush on the One and Only, because Ava was his one and only. He thought after 4 years of college life, he would have a chance to start a new story with Ava. However, Ava moved away after graduation. Zachary gradually became famous in the music biz and moved out of the old house with his mother. Later, his mother fell seriously ill. The doctor suggested Zachary fulfill his mother's wish as soon as possible since she didn't have much time left. A deep sense of despair overwhelmed him. His mother seemed to have seen through his mind. "Zach, I want to see you get married before I leave. I don't have anything else to worry about. I think Ava can be a perfect match for you." Rain and tears flowed over his face, blurring Ava's dainty figure in his eyes. Even though he professed his feelings for her with the excuse that his mother was ill, her mind was still a mess. His heart pounded disorderly in his chest as if taunting him for being a coward. The fake marriage between him and Ava was like a fragile dream. With a gentle poke, it would vanish into thin air. Zachary thought his mother's death would be the time of the destruction of the dream. The depression approached and devoured him into the darkness like a giant beast. However, Ava didn't leave. Instead, she dragged him out of the darkness. She persuaded him to get busy and stop being dispirited all the time. Gradually, work occupied his time, while every dark corner of his life was lit by Ava. Zachary thought, perhaps it's time to slowly make her mine.